My name is Rich Polt, and I am a legacy filmmaker. Maybe you've heard the term a video biographer. So my company, Acknowledge Media, works with families, I work with institutions to help them celebrate and preserve their stories as a gift for the future. And I do a lot of interviewing in my work. We talked about producers before. I produce and I interview. And over the years, I've become increasingly captivated by the power of questions. And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. So the human beings are the only species that have the capacity to ask questions. Now, of course, the second I wrote that, I thought of my pet parakeet, Pretty Bird, that frequently inquires into the nature of my whereabouts. So Pretty Bird aside, what is the evolutionary advantage to being able to ask questions? Well, for one, information gathering. We're a naturally curious species, and so that's why we ask. But beyond that, I think there's a more compelling reason why we ask each other. And it's to form connections. When you look at somebody and you ask them a question and you listen to their response, you're forging connection. Now, unfortunately, our society is losing those skill sets. As we have more modes of communication, those skills are degrading. We are looking at our screens more than we're staring into each other's eyes. So in July 6, 2016, I, without thinking, declared that I was going to ask one question every day for a year. My goal being to inspire individuals to have more meaningful conversations with their families. Now, to be clear, the kinds of questions I was talking about were open-ended questions, things that would elicit meaningful dialogue. Not trivia questions, not things that could be answered with a simple yes or no. What I quickly learned was that coming up with one question every day for a year and posting it is a lot of work. And pretty soon I needed an intern. I was working with a web designer based in Kashmir. But at the end of this year, what I had was not only a trove of questions that I could utilize in my own interviews, but a website where people could search for the perfect question for themselves. So the website is based on two measures. The first being the structure of the question, and then the second being how personal the question is. And I think that latter is much more important. Think about it. When you ask a person a question, you're asking them to share a part of themselves. And when someone shares, that creates vulnerability. So a question about the weather is intrinsically safe, but something about one's belief in God, well, there has to be a lot of trust there in order to ask that kind of question. Now, there's 5 types of questions. The first one is a report-on question. What is your favorite room in your home? Or what is your least favorite body part? Pretty standard. If you add the word why to a question, then it becomes an opinion question. Right? What is your feeling on this matter? The book that you read last year. What was your favorite book and why? Are human beings fundamentally selfish or selfless? Remember when questions are my favorite. These invite somebody to go back to a particular moment of space and time. Was there a chore that you hated growing up? Tell me about your first kiss. Where were you on September 11th, 2001? Project ahead questions take it in the other direction. So now speculate about something unknown. When will the Orioles win another World Series? What do you want your funeral ceremony to look like? Hypothetical questions are fun. Here you take the word if, you stick it in front. So if you had a superhero power, what would it be? Or more personal, if you had the opportunity to do it all again, what might you change? So here's a hypothetical question. If asking questions forges connection between people, what happens if you ask a question to yourself? Can you strengthen your relationship with yourself? I think you can. Here are 3 important questions to ask. Number 1, where do I come from? Looking back, am I a product of my geography, of my parents, of my community, of my experiences? What has created the person that I am today? Number 2, what's a struggle that I have overcome or that I cope with every day? I think we think about the things that are good in our lives, and we tend to try to dismiss the struggles. But it's through struggle that we experience the most growth. Number 3, how do I want to be remembered? When all is said and done, what is my legacy going to be to the world? Is it through my professional? Is it through my philanthropy? Maybe as a parent, as a father, right? Jane Goodall said that it's our ability to ask questions, that's what makes us human. And I think that the greatest act of humanity is to look someone in the eye and to ask them to tell you their story, and then to listen to what they have to say. Thank you for listening to what I have to say.